You are listening to Where is the Line? The stories you will hear will be depraved, disturbing, and true. If you are easily unsettled, you may find this program offensive. And if you are under the age of 18, fuck off.
You don't have any brains. I have the brains. That's how I win my matches. I say the bigger they come, the harder they fall. I think you bit off a little more than you can chew.
Everybody drinking blood, everybody eating brains. Some monster party. Everybody eating flesh, everybody breaking bones. Some monster party.
Are you sure you're ready?
It is what it is at this point, right?
You sound so excited to be here.
I'm a little nervous, okay? Like, this is the second time we've recorded.
On episode 35 of Where is the Line? It's been a while.
It has.
And with me today is someone who hopefully will be here for an episode and a half or so before she goes to live on the farm with Jamie, Ashley, and all of the other totally alive co-hosts.
One can only dream.
Robin.
Hi.
Say something disturbing, Robin.
Snow-capped mountains.
Snow-capped mountains. That's a good one, and I don't think you even knew that one until a minute ago, did you?
It's true. I was just paying attention.
I'm going to get right into this episode pretty quick. I'm not even going to talk about all the shit that has gone on that has led to us not being here for a while. Yeah, maybe I'll make like a YouTube video and just explain it all or something. I need to be doing some shit on YouTube. Anyway, I want to give a shout out to our new patrons who we have acquired for whatever fucking reason because we haven't done shit in a while.
We have a lot new Facebook followers too, or Facebook
do we?
members. Yeah. I've been approving those.
But yeah. Oh, well, thank you.
You're welcome.
I felt bad about not doing anything and still having a Patreon. So I sent all of our patrons some assorted shit, you know, just like the crap that we had, like the coasters that last through. Like, you could set like 2 fucking things on those coasters and they completely fall the fuck apart.
It's true. I have mine on a bulletin board instead.
Well, the stickers are stickers,
They
though.
are. They're nice.
Yeah,
I like
the
those.
stickers are definitely
Gonna stick.
Yeah, they'll stick on things. If you would like some stickers of your own and possibly even a coaster that you could use once or twice. Yeah, visit our Patreon at patreon.com/whereistheline. Our new patrons, though, and possibly a few old ones because I'm a little bit confused about where we stopped last time and I don't want to leave anybody out, so I'd rather say it twice.
Absolutely.
Than not even once. Are Naomi Lord from the UK, Kat Jones from Kansas, Sheila Swearingen Angel.
The name sounds familiar, but maybe not.
Did you watch Deadwood?
Maybe. Is that what it's
Swidgen!
from? Oh.
Cocksucker! Swidgen! I probably can't. Is that racist? Can I do that?
I don't know.
Swidgen! Anyway, thanks for being a patron.
I guess we'll find out later.
Swidgen! Yeah, yeah, we'll definitely find out if I'm not supposed to be doing that. Katie McGill, Kit, who was at our last hangout that you fell asleep and didn't come.
I did.
You're off to a good start.
I know, right?
Just kidding. Annalise McGaw and Jason Kochka from Dayton, Ohio. I was totally expecting to look over there and see like a Poland or something, you know, but nope. Well, thank all of the patrons for staying on the worst Patreon of all time.
Thank you.
I don't really do shit. I like the Patreon and the Facebook group. Mm-hmm. I fucking hate the Instagram. I actually gave Cassie the login information. She is the official farthest person away from us living in Tasmania. So she can log into our Instagram and post all kinds of shit there and possibly pretend that she's me and maybe even use those credentials to log into all kinds of things that I own. Who knows? But don't do that, Cassie. It's been a long time. How long has it been? Like 3 months?
It was Halloween. It was after, like, right after Halloween, because we didn't have an Halloween episode.
Did you? Yeah. I was really upset because we didn't have a Halloween episode.
And then we kind of did one, but it was just like us talking about why we didn't have the episode, and then we didn't.
Which was
Lots
based
of
on
reasons.
the previous 2 episodes that I began recording that went fucking nowhere.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, and then I don't remember what, like, the running theory was on, like, why we were almost, like, cursed to not have a Halloween episode. But,
Yeah, I
because
don't
weird
know.
things happened to me about that time, too.
The only good thing that happened on Halloween is that I was sitting on the porch and this kid dressed up, like, when I say kid, I mean like teenager,
Like
freshman in
college,
college.
yeah.
Or something, came running by dressed up like Gene Simmons. And he said, "Which way is the strip?" And I pointed the absolute wrong direction. And he took off running. I fucking hate Gene Simmons. And Kiss. Fuck. What the fuck has Gene Simmons got to be so goddamn proud about? He plays like 2 or 3 fucking root notes and then sticks his tongue out and paints his face up.
That's it.
I don't like Gene Simmons.
And that child paid the price.
Well, he knew he was dressing up like an asshole before he left the fucking house.
He took his chances.
He took his chances. If you're gonna dress up like a fucking asshole, yeah, expect to get misinformed when you ask for directions. All right, I want to go ahead and get going because this is going to be a 2-part episode. And this is the story that everyone has been asking for. I can't tell you.
Is it?
No.
So
not at all.
popular.
No one has ever asked for this story.
We've got to know about this.
But you've got to fucking know about this. Are you ready to get into it?
Absolutely.
Let's do it. Late in the 12th century, a young nomadic tribeswoman goes into labor under the open sky on the Asian steppe. Some claim that this woman's child, when he came into the world, was holding in his fist a ball of coagulated blood, foreshadowing the millions of deaths that would soon come about in his name. Upon his birth, this child was given the name Timujin. Are you familiar with the name Timujin?
I don't think so. Am I?
You're familiar with this man, though.
Okay.
If that name seems unfamiliar to some people, apart from Robin, it's probably because you know this child as the name that he will eventually be known as. A name rivaled maybe only by Jesus of Nazareth in terms of the misery and destruction attributed to it. This child would come to be known as Genghis Khan. And his birth marks the beginning of an era that, by its end, would bring about the violent death of more than 10% of the entire population of Earth. Today, though, our focus is not on Genghis Khan. Instead, we'll be talking about the man who served as his right hand, a general in the Mongolian army who was unnaturally gifted in the arenas of war and wartime subterfuge, a man who, when unleashed, would unrelentlessly chase his marks to the ends of the earth, pillaging everything along the way and leaving mountains of the dead behind him. All those who this man was set upon learned the hard way that, much like the Wu-Tang Clan of our own time, Subutai ain't nothing to fuck with. Please laugh.
I was trying not to.
Why? That is a horrible. That has been stuck in my head ever since I decided to do an episode on Subutai. I had to say Subutai because I've been just hearing it in my head. Subutai, nothing to fuck with.
I think it was the Wu-Tang Clan getting put into that also that I really was just like...
Oh, God. Is this racist again? Am I being racist again? I don't know.
No, why would that be racist?
Well, I don't know. I can't. Sometimes I don't know.
That's not... I don't think so.
If I'm offending anybody...
Well, no.
Yeah, well, yeah, but I'm also sorry. I don't mean to. Unless I, like, call you out and challenge you to, like, a bare-knuckle boxing match or something like that.
Or, say something about your Halloween costume.
I forgot what we were talking about before that.
Oh, calling people out. Calling people out. And Subutai. And I ain't nothing to fuck with.
Subutai ain't nothing to fuck with. And we're going to prove that over 2 episodes. Subutai might be the most nothing to fuck with human being that ever walked the fucking planet. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Fuck linear storytelling. I'm gonna start with a battle that I think exemplifies how Subutai fought with his army. And I want to tell this probably kind of from the perspective of his adversary, and then maybe back up and let you know what was really happening. That's going to make sense in a minute.
I got you.
So, this is 1241, by the way. I'm not really big on dates. I really hate when people are like, Subutai was born in 15, and then this. And I don't like dates. We're in the mid-13th century, and we're going to be talking through the mid-14th century. 1241, in Poland. Henry the Pious, already don't like him, has become aware that there is a horde of 70,000 Mongols, men who are said to stink and have the clothes rotting off of their bodies. Absolutely barbaric men. And these men have just finished fucking up Russia, and now they have their sights set on Henry's home, Poland. The Mongols invade Poland, and they take a lot of Poland without resistance. And the last holdout is this Henry the Pious. He's got only 30,000 men, and he's heard that the 70,000 men Mongol horde is approaching. But he's not that worried yet, because amongst his 30,000 men are the famous Knights Templar.
Oh.
These are war-hardened badasses with impenetrable armor. They ride on top of these giant horses who are actually bred to be extra large and stout so that they can hold the knights on the armor. And they're also expert swordsmen. And then along with all of these knights, who are not all just Knights Templar, they're knights of various sorts, he's got tens of thousands of infantrymen to support them. And the way that knights on horses worked in battle, and the way that the Europeans fought, is that they would line up. The knights would charge towards the battle lines of the enemy, carrying lances and their swords. They would bust through these lines, and they would immediately be followed by this infantry who would engage with the enemy, who were then scattered about. That's how that worked. Mm-hmm. This whole thing depends on the infantry coming in behind these knights. And the knights, another thing about these knights, a lot of these are expert swordsmen who are battle-hardened and all of that. But a lot of them are there because of social status and their family name. They have this ornate armor. They're there for personal glory. And also, a lot of these knights are the commanders of divisions, which is going to be important in a minute. So, this Mongol horde, who is said to be comprised of 70,000 men, has brushed through Poland, and they're at Henry's doorstep. And Henry and his army looks at them, and they're a little surprised. For one thing, these Mongols, who are said to be, expert horsemen and expert archers, aren't even riding real horses. They're riding little fucking ponies. And also, they're quiet, which is a little disconcerting to Henry and his army because they're not making any noise. Usually, when the European armies fight other European armies, they line up and they have drums and battle cries and they try to be intimidating. And the Mongol horde that is approaching isn't doing any of this. But they do notice some flags going up and down. And what's happening is that the Mongols are using communication with flags across their lines, whereas Henry's army is shouting orders, and a lot of those orders are coming from people who aren't really even soldiers. They're just kind of rich people in armor on horses. So there's some nuance that goes on in the middle here that I'm going to skip. But basically, this battle begins. Henry's knights charge the Mongols. And the Mongols, who have at this point conquered the entirety of Asia, they fucked up Russia, they turn and fucking run from Henry's army. And so, I mean, and they're running and screaming and running and screaming. And the knights are chasing them and also chasing glory, because all of these fucking rich fuckers with their ornate armor, they got to slice down a couple of Mongols, so they have these stories to tell and songs can be written about them. And so they're chasing the Mongols and they're chasing the Mongols and they're chasing the Mongols. And they look behind them and they've kind of lost track of their infantrymen. Their infantry is really far behind them, but they're knights. The Mongols are shooting arrows at them from as they're being chased, and none of these arrows are doing anything to their armor. They hadn't fucking killed anybody. So the knights take off after them. They look back a couple minutes later and they notice a plume of smoke going across the battlefield. Someone must have set something on fire. Something's burning back there. They keep chasing. And then the Mongols stop, and there's a whole big group of Mongols surrounding the knight. And at first, they actually try shooting the arrows at these knights, but they can't kill them that way. But knights aren't very mobile if they get knocked off of their horse. So they just shot all the horses out from under them and just sort of stood around them in a circle and just stabbed them all to death.
Sounds like a good plan.
Including Henry the Pious, whose head they chopped off and put upon a spike and ran around through town with it. So let's back up and talk about how this slaughter of this entire army came to be. Because once they killed the knights, everybody else is done. So what's really happening here? So right when this battle starts, right before the knights are charging towards the Mongols, a flank of Henry's army retreats. The man that yelled retreat was a Mongol who snuck over there and started yelling retreat. The smoke that went across the battlefield was purposeful. The Mongols sat the smoke across the battlefield, so they were intentionally stretching the knights away from their infantry, obviously. And the smoke across the battlefield was there to keep the infantry from being able to see where the knights went.
Okay.
So should it take the Mongols a little longer to deal with the knights, the infantry's not going to catch back up with them. Also, this is one of the first times that the Mongol army has met a European army. The European army really didn't know what to expect. Subutai's 70,000 men that he marched out of Russia knew exactly what to expect because Subutai had an intelligence group. Subutai rarely attacked an enemy without knowing everything about them. Before he attacked Henry, he knew that some of their commanders were just rich dudes in armor. He knew how they communicated across their lines. He knew how the knights worked along with the infantrymen, and that's what made all of this possible. And now here is the most insulting thing about this whole ordeal for poor Henry. This isn't even Subutai's army. This is a little bitty detachment that he set off after them while he handled more important things in the south.
Nice.
Subutai ain't nothing to fuck with. This happens over and over and over, especially the feigned flight. Mm-hmm. All through these conquests, Genghis Khan's conquests, Subutai, all of the generals are using this, where they attack, they pretend to be terrified, apparently screaming and running away, stretching the armies out, sometimes leading them into ambushes. sometimes just getting them away from the objective that they really want to attack. And nobody ever knew what.
No, I'm just like, that's what I'm thinking is like, how is it that, I mean, this has worked so many times. How has nobody communicated, hey, this is how they work?
They have.
Oh.
And that's one of the really perplexing things, amongst all of the perplexing things about this, is that word has gotten out about how the Mongols fight. And people keep fucking falling for it. But it's not just that. I mean, that seems to have been like their primary tactic, the feigned flight, come around and attack. But they did so many clever things. They often hid their numbers in all of these amazing ways. Possibly the reason that Henry thought that entire army was there is that the Mongols oftentimes, when they would travel, if they wanted you to think that their numbers were greater, every man in the troop would light 3 fires. So if you're looking at them from a distance, the army looks 3 times as large. So the Mongols destroy Henry's entire army, sack the city, kill every living thing they find, as they are wont to do. It's really the reason that Subutai sent the detachment. He didn't want Henry's army joining forces with the larger army that Subutai was at present heading towards.
Okay.
And so Subutai may not have even wanted to take Henry's city. He just wanted to distract the army, really. But Henry was easy pickings for Subutai.
Absolutely.
So how did Subutai end up in this position? Because it wasn't by birthright. Subutai was born to a poor blacksmith out on the steppe. You know, I mentioned in the monologue that Genghis Khan was born Timujin. Temujin's family and Subutai's family had known each other. They had kind of traded through a few generations. Subutai's family did metalwork. Temujin's family were hunters and sheep herders, and also warriors.
Because that's what I think when I think about sheep herders.
That they're warriors?
Yeah, absolutely.
Warrior sheep herder.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, all of this shit that I've been reading, it's never occurred to me that the idea of the warrior sheep herder is unusual.
Like, they're sheep herders and warriors.
But there's this story about how Subutai and Timujin met. And it's that Subutai's father was bringing sheep to Temujin's father after Temujin's father had lost a battle. Because Temujin's father was technically a Khan, but he was not the Khan in the sense of what Genghis Khan would become known as. Temujin's father was just kind of in control of a small tribe.
Okay.
In the middle of the steppe. The story goes that Subutai's father was bringing these sheep to Temujin's father, who was kind of trapped on the banks of a river. And so on the way bringing these sheep there, the story goes that they're attacked by bandits, and that Subutai and Subutai's older brother fight off these bandits and take these sheep on to Temujin's father. This most certainly cannot be true, because Subutai very probably was 14 when he joined Genghis Khan's army. So for this to have happened, Subutai would have been out there busting tails when he was like 8 years old. Yeah, I'm not buying it.
You never know.
Regardless, Subutai is 14 when he joins up with Temujin's army, who by this point is going by Genghis Khan. And so Subutai's brother is a commander in Genghis's army.
It's just, I'm 14 years old. I'm sorry, I'm over here just like, that's great. It blows my mind.
Well, Subutai's brother was kind of pressed into service.
Okay.
His family owned a debt to the Khans, and so Subutai's brother was pressed into service. Subutai, though, wanted to join. He was actually probably a little too young to be joining, but he went in anyway, and they let him come in because by this point, his brother had become a well-thought-of commander in Genghis's army. And so Subutai gets in here at 14, because his brother is a commander, he's in these tents as they're making war plans, coming up with strategies, different tactics to attack different peoples. And he's kind of growing up in this point in your life where you kind of become who you're going to be.
Yes.
And this is what he's doing during that time. So as Subutai grows up, he begins showing more and more competency with battlefield tactics. And Genghis Khan, to his credit, does not appoint generals based on nepotism. People aren't born in to Genghis Khan's army. They get there by merit. And so eventually, Subutai works his way up to be one of Genghis's 4 dogs. These were the 4 generals.
Like DAWG or...
Yeah, the dogs. he grows up to be one of Genghis's main dogs.
Sorry, I'm just like over with who let the dogs out and like all kinds of good. So 4 main.
Of which he only has 4. Okay. These are the generals. These are Genghis's generals. These are the men that he trusts. And you know, when people talk about Genghis Khan conquering this enormous landmass, I mean, by the end of this, he had conquered all of Asia. He fucked up Russia. He went to Poland. No one has ever conquered that large of a contiguous landmass in history. And Subutai ends up the general in this. And Genghis lets his generals kind of have autonomy. Mm-hmm. He says what he wants them to accomplish, and they go and they do it.
He's not a micromanager.
He's not. Now, Genghis is a proven battle commander. He is actually probably even more gifted at this than Subutai is. But he's at the top of the chain at this point. He's giving orders now. And so when Genghis starts out, his plan is to unify all of these separated tribes in the steppe. So like I said, his family were one of these tribes. Like his father was the leader of one of these, and these were all like little small tribes, and they're warring with each other a lot. And Genghis wants to unify them all, and he does. And so he's getting these different tribes to submit by sending out Subutai and the other generals. And they have a pretty much one chance policy most of the time.
Okay, so this isn't necessarily unification through like, come join us.
No.
This is going to be great. It's like, come join us or else.
Join us or die.
Got you.
Is exactly what this is.
Okay.
Now, if you join them, you would give them a few troops. You start paying them taxes. But apart from that, you're going to be all right. They're going to offer you protection. They don't give a fuck what your religion is. The Mongols had some religion.
It's like a mafia thing.
But, well, it kind of is. Yeah, it really is. But you pretty much kept your life the way you were. Now, at the same time, out in Europe, this is the time of the Crusades and shit.
Yes.
Those are holy wars.
Well, I'm also thinking right now about how, like, with the holy wars, and I mean, obviously problematic now, but every time I think about anything that has to do with Mongols, it's like, they're barbaric and they're terrible and they're nasty. And speaking about, like, as far as like racism, they were. They were
extremely nasty. No, it's a fact that they would wear kind of silks that they would get from tradesmen under like the leather, which kind of served as their armor.
Okay.
But they would wear it until it literally rotted off of their skin.
Is there a purpose to that? Or is it just so that you look badass when you're like coming up on...
If there's a purpose for that, I'm not aware of it. Now, but their culture was such that it probably just didn't... It just felt like what they did. Because a lot of their habits were also offensive to modern sensibilities and even to European sensibilities at the time. So they would eat intestines of animals. They wouldn't clean them out. They would just kind of roll them up and let the poop come out the end as they're eating them.
Okay, like spaghetti.
And one of the ways that the Mongols were able to be so tricky is that they were, compared to armies of the time anywhere else in the world, they moved with speed that no army had matched before this.
How is that?
That is because they didn't have supply trains.
Oh, okay.
European armies all over the world, when they want to march their troops out, they have a supply train that follows them, that brings them food, everything that they need. The Mongols were completely self-sufficient, and when they left, when their troops left, they left each one carrying more than one horse. And these horses were these small ponies, which were native to the area.
I was going to say the ponies.
Yeah. But the thing about these ponies don't look like much, but they're badass. You don't have to feed them. They feed themselves. Even when they're crossing icy plains, these horses can use their hooves to dig through the ice and kind of graze on whatever's underneath there. And you might be thinking, well, what if they get hungry out on these plains? You know, and at one point, the Mongols crossed the fucking Gobi Desert to get the drop on somebody. Something that no one had ever done that. It was thought to be impossible. But if you piss off the fucking Mongols, they will cross the goddamn desert just to make you look like a fucking dumbass when they sneak up behind you. What was I talking about?
We were talking about the time. It was like the time of the Knights Templar, and I kind of got us off on the...
Where was I going with that? Okay, so Subutai had been out conquering one of these tribes. Oh, real quick, this particular...
Unifying.
Yeah, unifying. Yeah, Subutai had been out unifying.
Be a threat.
And just real quick, I don't want to really go into it too much because there's this kind of shit happens over and over. But guess how he won that battle?
Rock, paper, scissors.
No. He sent a spy out and located their army. He took his army and crossed in their path and started throwing out baby toys.
What? Where did he get baby toys?
From some other place that they had conquered.
Ransacked.
And Subutai looked at them and said, I've got a good idea for these. So they're throwing out these baby toys. And when this army sees all of these baby toys, they think that this is a fleeing horde of Mongol women and children. This is some prime...
Easy.
We're gonna get some payback.
Easy targets.
Yeah, easy fucking targets. But no, it's Subutai with his army, and he fucking slaughters all of them and cuts their fucking ears off. Because that's how they counted corpses. They would cut one of the ears off of every body, and then go home and count them, look at them,
put them in jars.
Yeah.
Under their bed,
Yeah, what are you
or in
gonna
the
do
closet. It's a big
what if somebody
closet.
didn't know that was for the purposes of counting corpses? And they were just like, man, Genghis really likes ears. How many is he going to have before we have to stop doing this? That's what this entire Asian conquest
ear
was
collection.
About.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, I
was
need
really into his ear collection.
one of every type of ear on the planet. We're not going to stop until I have all the ears in my closet in jars.
So, as Subutai is on the back, on his way back from this trick he pulled where he destroyed this army, he runs into another army. And the leader of this army is somebody who is going to be largely the focal point of part 2 of this.
Oh.
This is a man that Subutai is going to be put upon by Genghis Khan. And Genghis Khan is going to be madder at this fucking guy than he has ever been at anybody. Subutai is eventually going to hunt this fucking guy to the end of the earth. Subutai has come across the Khwarezmian Shah. And the Khwarezmian Shah has brought his army with him. And the Shah is no slouch. He knows what he's fucking doing. And Subutai had not expected to run into them. Subutai was actually just on his way back to report to Genghis. The Shah was looking for Subutai, though, and he found them and attacked. And this battle begins apparently early in the morning, and they fight all day. Subutai's side has a lot of casualties. The Shah's side has a lot of casualties, about even, apparently. And so night falls, the two armies light fires across from each other, and they start plotting what they're going to do the next day. In the morning, the fighting's about to begin. The Shah's army gets ready to go, and they look across the battlefield, and as it turns out, Subutai's army just lit a bunch of fires and immediately fucking left.
Yes.
And because Subutai's army is so fucking mobile, they're 30 miles away. He's got an entire fucking army 30 miles away from the battlefield before anybody fucking knew about it.
Some ponies.
Army. And this, this attack that the Khwarezmian Shah perpetrated on Subutai, this is going to be one of the first times somebody's going to get away with this shit. And this might have made the Shah a little cocky.
You got to stay humble.
Some time goes by. Like this doesn't really set off. This isn't what sets off Genghis.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Where would the Shah be from?
At the time, it goes by a lot of different names now. Khwarezmia, Khwarezm. It would be around where Iran is now.
Okay.
So some time goes by. Genghis has his hands full. He is conquering in all directions. He's not especially interested in the Shah. He just wants the Shah to submit, like everyone else. Now, the Mongols, when the way they got away with so much is this join us or die approach that they had to warfare. So a lot of times, they would conquer areas without fighting at all. Because those people fucking knew better.
So they would just join the army as well?
Yeah, so when they would conquer places, you would get the choice.
This is still the, quote, unification process that we're going through.
Now, I don't think that Genghis ever really called this unification. Genghis was concerned with conquest.
Okay.
I mean, this wasn't a religious thing for him. It wasn't usually personal, particularly. He was just driven to conquest. And this unification business that keeps coming up, this is now, a lot of things eventually did become great. The world would not be as it is today, and a lot of really good things came out of this. We'll talk about some of that in the next episode. But so the Khwarezmian Shah and Subutai have already had this little dust up. Some time goes by. Genghis, it appears, just wants to trade with the Khwarezmian Empire. He just wants to open up trade routes. Now, a lot of what Genghis has been doing is opening up trade routes. Roads kind of form through places. People are able to travel more easily because of this conquest, and all these trade routes are opening up. And what? I'm
sorry. I've got the interstate in my head for some reason of
It essentially was. I mean, for the time, it basically was. And they actually even implemented a mail system. 13th fucking century mail system. The Pony Express. We thought we fucking thought of that. No, we fucking did not. Genghis thought of the Pony Express. They would actually have couriers who would carry several horses with them, as they always did, and they would strap themselves into the saddle, and they would sleep on top of their horses, and they would just go. The horses knew where they were supposed to go, so they could sleep on top of them and just go. And so they were able to communicate across really long distances relatively quickly for the time. Incredibly quickly for the time. And so Genghis, it seems, just wants to open up trade routes with the Shah. And so he sends an emissary to the Khwarezmian Empire. And this emissary comes upon one of the larger cities there. And he speaks to what amounts to the mayor of the city. This is kind of a Rudy Giuliani kind of guy. Not the guy you fucking want saying yes or no to the goddamn Mongols, you know. Like, you've got...
I guess. Let me get back to you.
Yeah, get this shit right, man. Like, they ain't gonna ask you twice. This, quote, mayor, my own quote, mayor, of this city kills the emissary.
Oh.
He thinks they're up to something. Because they're the Mongols. Genghis Khan does not take kindly to this at all. But this shit happened at a good time. Because he is so fucking busy fucking up the rest of the world.
Getting them ears.
You guys aren't really the guys I want to fuck up. Yeah, there's ears. I've got so many ears up here. You know, like... I've got
enough ears to deal with right now.
Yeah.
Like, your ears can wait.
Your turn will probably come. Maybe
Not
don't
today.
speed it up, you know? So, Genghis sends 3 more men, and this is probably the only fucking third chance anybody ever got from Genghis. This time, though, so Genghis is thinking, okay, they went to Rudy Giuliani's place.
That was our fuck up.
You know what? Like that... It could be that this man was acting beyond his own authority. He's going to give him the benefit of the doubt. So he sends 3 more men to directly speak with the Khwarezmian Shah. The Khwarezmian Shah gave 2 of those men a buzz cut and sent them back to Genghis Khan with the head of the 3rd man.
I shouldn't have done that, I bet. No. He done fucked up.
If ever there was a man in the history of the world that you do not want to cross, Genghis Khan. And so now, Genghis Khan
It just sounds so stupid. I'm sorry.
has what?
I just like, these people just, I'm like, this is so stupid. Why would you not just be like, yes, sir?
Well, now, you have to imagine, though, that these people, they're not seeing pictures of what's going on. They're hearing tales. But the tales are fucking horrifying, and they do believe them. People are reporting things, like going about their travels and coming across what they believe to be snow-capped mountains and getting closer and finding that these are rotting corpses that are decaying to the point that the bones are showing, and they're stacked higher than you are probably imagining. Because when we talk about the Mongols, when we talk about the Mongols saying, join us or die, they're really saying, join us or die in a horrible fucking way. And have everything that you have ever owned burned. Everyone that you ever have known will die. And a lot of them are going to kill themselves to keep from doing what we're going to fucking do to you. The Mongols have been known to, when they encountered moats around keeps, rounding up the people outside of the walls, the locals, and shoving them into the moats until they completely filled the moats and were able to walk over them. They killed people and stacked them up next to garrisons and crawled over the bodies. And now, the Khwarezmian Shah has gotten under Chinggis's skin so much that he has to pull back from the shit he really wants to be doing, which is collecting all these fucking ears. He's got to stop doing that.
Yep.
And he sends the meanest fucking man he has to track down and kill the Khwarezmian Shah. Subutai is coming. Thank you for listening to episode 35 of Where is the Line? If you enjoyed the show, please be sure to subscribe to it. You might also find us on our Facebook page and group. If you join the Facebook page, be sure to click on the join group, because that's where everybody hangs out and posts all their nudes and shit.
There's nudes.
No.
I was about to say, I missed those.
Join the group, because that's where everybody hangs out and posts things. Before we go, we got a couple of reviews to read for you. Nick412 writes, Kevin Hart, That was a heart emoji, and he didn't.
Oh, I was
spell
about
out
to
heart.
say, what? Wrong Kevin.
Kevin, we miss your voice. Your podcast is hilarious, and I hope you come back soon.
Aww.
Oh, thank you, Nick412. We're back.
Yay.
I hope this episode doesn't suck. This episode fucking sucks. I can
Don't
already
do
tell.
that. Do not do that.
Moving on to the next review. Griffin the Griffin writes, unlike anything else. I already like it. I'm one of those people that listen to a lot of podcasts but never leave a review. This show is too amazing and unique for me to remain silent. I have to do the bare minimum and reward them with a review. I did not discover the show by Hollywood crime scene. Wow. Seriously. I was searching for a show that covered Issei Sagawa and found a true gem. And where is the line? All of the episodes are very well researched and presented brilliantly with funny jokes, no matter how insane the subject matter is. Kevin is the best.
Aw, it's true.
No, that's not true.
Totally true.
And each of his co-hosts have been great, with extra props to Samantha. Shout out, Samantha, if you're still listening. I hope this isn't the end, and I eagerly await new episodes, even if they don't come on a fixed schedule. They're not going to. I just want more. Please. Thanks for the hours of entertainment. That's so fucking nice, wasn't
That's a
it?
good one. I like that
That makes,
one.
and do I
Thank
sound
you.
extra? Do I sound too pumped up or something? Do I sound like I feel like I'm just all over the place today? I am all over the place today. Our last review. I think we're going to skip the voicemails for this time.
I was about to say,
we're going to
do
get them
voicemails?
next time.
Okay.
Our last review comes from Lee1024. 5 stars. Gross. Love it. I love that this podcast gets into all the gritty details that many other podcasts skip over. I've listened to most episodes so far, but just heard the one on Forthman Murph, and it's my favorite. They told his story with all the gory details, but in a way that was empathetic and humanizing. Side note, it's cool to listen to a podcast made by other LGBTQ people where that's not the focus. Hosts Kevin and Ashley are the best. I go through so many goddamn co-hosts that, like, I have reviews that mention... By the time you review the show, there's going to be... Okay. Thank you so much for that review.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Forthman episode's one of my favorites, too. I don't know if I've mentioned it on the show before, but Forthman's... one of his relatives actually got in touch with me and sent me a recording of Forthman singing after the accident.
Okay.
After his wounds healed.
Yeah.
The recording was really fuzzy and it was hard to hear, so I did some audio work on it and cleaned it up a little bit and sent it back to him. And but that's on our Patreon page, way on down there. I put that on there a long time ago. But if yeah, you know what? That's worth joining the Patreon.
Absolutely.
To hear Forthman Murph fucking singing something.
Absolutely.
I really
least
wanted
that.
to know. I wanted to know so bad what he sounded like singing, and I couldn't find anything. And this person who sent this to me had just commented on the episode, and yeah, if it weren't for that, I would have never gotten to hear him. And also, you're not going to find that recording anywhere else.
No. Did he tell you how he came across the episode?
No, I assume he was just Googling. I mean, if you Google Forthman Murph, you're going to come across the right guy. It's a pretty uncommon name. And another thing, that review also mentions that it's cool to listen to podcasts made by other LGBTQ people. One of the few times that we were ever offered an ad, it was from an LGBTQ organization, I think somewhere in Colorado or something. Maybe I might be wrong about that. And I turned it down because I was really afraid that, and it was one of these ads where it was given to me by the host. I couldn't contact the people. It was just going to be this inserted ad thing in the show, which I ain't fucking doing that anyway. If you want to put an ad on this show, I am going to be reading it or it ain't going to fucking be there. You're not going to put a fucking ad. I spent so much time editing these things, I'm just going to let somebody put some fucking random shit about frozen food that they drop off at your fucking house right in the middle of it.
I love that
No.
that's the one you pick because that seems to be always the one that's advertised.
Do you ever listen to things where, like, it's the podcast and it just cuts off in the middle of a fucking word and that thing's there. I don't give a damn how much money you give me. I ain't doing that.
You're right in the middle of talking about murder, and they're like, "Do you know what you're cooking for dinner tonight? What just happened?"
So if you've ever offered an ad to us through that marketplace thing, the reason that I declined it, well, the LGBTQ thing, I was afraid that if I accepted that, they would regret it.
Oh, that they would regret it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really a flag kind of guy. Like, I'm like.
What? You're not what?
I'm not happy enough to be the representative of the. I mean, LGBTQ people are usually like really happy. It seems. I mean, at least on the surface.
Okay.
Like, I'm goddamn generalizing. Jesus, I've been racist. Never mind. Yeah, if you're one of the people that try to submit an ad to us and you happen to be listening to this, even if you're the LGBTQ people, as long as you know what you're getting into, get in touch with me. I'd be glad to read an ad. Pretty fucking cheap.
Just know it won't be a happy one.
Yeah.
Nice.
In case they do get in touch with me, I should probably just go ahead and say this. I don't get the flag thing.
What do you mean?
Like, there's everybody, like, bisexual people have a flag, and it's purple, and everybody has, like, a different color flag. I don't really want a flag for that. I mean, like, do I really need a flag for sucking dick? I don't think that requires a flag. I understand it's about unity and community and shit, but I'm a fucking loner. I don't like that stuff.
I got you.
I don't want the flag.
Well, so you're just saying, like, maybe the flag's just not for you.
I think I'm gonna cut every bit of this out. Maybe I'll just put this on.
Maybe this would be like a side, it's like a side note conversation about flags.
Yeah, the patrons have been getting complete shit for a long time. Let's just put this on there, dude. Oh my god.
And then we can get lots of feedback about the flags.
We've got voicemails, but we're not going to play them on this episode. But if you would like to call and leave us a voicemail of your own, that number is 386-227-7848. Do you know what that spells?
Dumb ass tit?
Dumbass tit. Spell out dumbass tit on your telephone to hear a special message just for you from our own Where Is the Line intro band. I think that's going to do it. Probably lost a lot of listeners. With this topic that nobody gives a fuck about. All right, this is a good one.
We're going to do a twofer on it, too.
Yeah, twofers.
Get better.
Yeah. Yeah, if you thought this one was good, wait till next time.
I liked it.
Thank you all so much for listening. We'll see you again soon.
Bye.
Kids, when you go to bed, stay away from your closets and don't look under your bed.